So today I'm coming to you from downtown Toronto, and I've got my bike here with me. So I'm going to mount the camera on the bike and give a little tour of downtown and show some of the new bike infrastructure that was installed this summer. So I'm starting my journey on Adelaide Street, and I'm just starting a little bit east of Bathurst. And Adelaide is a one-way street which runs in the east direction across the middle of the downtown core. And as you'll notice, we're in a brand new bike lane, cycle track, protected bike lane that was installed earlier in the summer and just completed last month. So this used to be 4 lanes of traffic for most sections of this road, and they've taken one whole lane and given it to the cyclist because there are lots of cyclists in downtown Toronto, and it's important to keep them safe by giving them their own protected lane. So there's that buffer of space there with the hashed lines, but also those white little pillars, which are called bollards. And you know, they really don't provide any major protection if a car is to drift over the line. They could still hit the cyclist. But what they do a really good job is they stop people from parking their vehicles in the bike lane, which tends to happen, unfortunately, on a lot of bike lanes across our city. So we're just approaching Spadina, which is a major north-south street, which has a streetcar that runs up and down it. There's a streetcar coming from on the left. And then this section of Adelaide has streetcar tracks on it. You'll notice on the left there. I believe they're not used anymore. They've been decommissioned. But whenever you're riding on a road that has streetcar tracks, you've got to be careful because bike wheels have been known to get caught in them, and that can cause a cyclist to get pretty badly hurt if they unexpectedly have their wheel get caught in one. So we're approaching Peter Street here. So it's kind of a gloomy, wet, gray kind of a day today, unfortunately. I'm hoping that it'll stay dry while I'm making this video. But there has been some moments where there was some rain that was spitting. It's also fairly windy. I hope the windsock that I have on my microphone does a good enough job at blocking the wind out for this recording. So we're getting closer to the downtown, the center of the downtown, like near Yonge Street now. So this is a really important arterial road for people to be able to get downtown coming from the west side of town. Alright, so unfortunately this is the end of I believe this is the end of the bike lane here, because the road is under construction. So I'm going to turn right here and ride on another brand new bike lane, which is on Simcoe. So now we're heading to the south, down towards the water. And this bike lane is completely brand new. It's just built very much the same as the one on Adelaide. It's got the protection from the white posts. It's another one-way street, although you'll notice on the left there's something different. There's some yellow posts and another bike lane which comes in the other direction, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So this big building here that's on our right that has all the glass on it, that's Roy Thompson Hall. It's a big theater where the symphony orchestra plays. So right here, there's no bike lanes. The bike track doesn't continue through here. I guess there's a lot of unloading and loading that happens on that street there, so it wasn't feasible to add them. But they start up again right down here. And these things here that we're riding over, they're what we call sharrows. Sharrow is a combination of the word sharing and arrow. And it tells cars and cyclists that they're supposed to share that section of the road. All right, now we're going underneath the train tracks, which is Union Station. So this is where all of the GO trains come and go from the downtown area, and also other passenger trains for the longer trips that go on Via Rail, which is our national passenger railway service. So I believe this is the end of the... Oh no, the bike lane does continue. Mistaken. But I think I'll cross here and I'll turn around and go back up. So during this section here, Simcoe Street is a two-way street. Cars are allowed to drive in both directions, and so are bikes. But once we get back up to Front Street, which is the road which is up here, it's only a one-way street. Actually, I guess it's beyond Front Street that it turns back into one way, but it turns back into a one way for cars. But cyclists are allowed to ride in both directions because we have what's called a Contraflow bike lane. So it's a small bike lane on the side of a one-way street that goes in the opposite direction that everyone else goes. So it's kind of like a privilege to, it's like an extra bonus that you get being a cyclist. You get to go the wrong way on a road, and it's completely legal and safe. Really quite windy right now. So right here you can see straight ahead there's the do not enter sign, the big white dot with a line through it. And underneath the sign is another sign in black which says bicycles accepted. I'll just wait for these fire trucks to pass. So this is a one-way street except if you're a bicyclist. And notice that the color of the bike lane lines are painted in yellow instead of white, yellow or orange. And the actual posts themselves are yellow instead of white. So riding on this, you feel pretty safe even though you're going the wrong way on a one-way street. And this is really a pretty useful spot to have this kind of a north-south route. So we're back up to Adelaide here, which is the road that I started on. And the plan eventually is to extend these bike lanes that we were riding on further to the east, and hopefully eventually connect up with a road which is called Sherbourne Street, which is another northwest street which has protected bike lanes on it as well, which I'm sure I will show in a later video. So just waiting for the traffic light to change here so we can go a little bit further north to meet up with another street. So Adelaide is a major one-way street that goes east, but it also has an equivalent which is a little bit further north, which runs parallel to it, which is called Richmond, which goes to the west. So they added the new bike lane, the protected bike lane, to both Richmond and Adelaide, so it can get you to and from wherever you're going. So there's no traffic light here, so you have to wait until it's clear. But there is a traffic light like half a block to the right, so there are quite big gaps to be able to get across, so it is pretty safe. So here we are on the bike lane on Richmond, heading west from Simcoe. Now there are no white posts on this section here. I'm not exactly sure why. I hope they do get installed eventually, because they have them almost everywhere else along these new bike lanes. And for a moment here, the bike lane stops because of this development that's happening. And now we're about to cross Peter Street, and we've been in the entertainment district for the last little bit of the ride here. Peter's a street that I often ride north-south on my bike because it connects up nicely with another set of roads that have bike lanes which are further north. So when I'm coming downtown and going somewhere like the Sky Dome to see a Blue Jays game or something like that, I often take Peter Street. Peter Street also goes almost directly to one of my favorite stores downtown, which is called Mountain Equipment Co-op. Alright, so bike lane starts up again, and it's got nice protection on my left side. And now we're just coming up to Spadina. And you'll notice on the left there's a giant sculpture, which is a big thimble. And in the sidewalk there's kind of like a tape measure, which is embedded into the sidewalk. That's because we're in the fashion district. Here we've got a traffic light to stop at. This video is ending up being more of a tour of our infrastructure than it is of our actual landmarks and destinations in downtown, but I'm hoping that some people will be interested in the kind of progress we've had here in Toronto in terms of our bike infrastructure. If people are interested, I could try and do one that's more focused on actual landmarks downtown, but I don't actually know that much about downtown or the history or the places to see. I've only lived in the city for a year and a half, although I have lived on the outskirts of this city for a large percentage of my life. But I'm not a tour guide by any means. These long linear streets really catch a lot of wind when the wind's blowing. I think it kind of gets amplified by the tunnel effect of the buildings. Alright, so we're back at Bathurst Street, which is where I started when I was riding on Adelaide. And the bike lane on Adelaide only starts there, but the Richmond one actually continues across Bathurst, and it becomes a Contraflow bike lane. Richmond has switched directions for cars, but we do have this nice Contraflow lane which cyclists can use to extend their route going west along Richmond, which is really nice and handy. There's not much of a divide between the cars and the bikes, unfortunately, but for the most part I feel pretty safe riding along here. So this road up here is where the bike lane ends. Richmond does continue a little bit to the left over there, but there's no bike infrastructure to show on that. So that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed riding along with me through downtown Toronto on our new bike lanes on Richmond, Adelaide, and Simcoe. Leave me a comment to let me know what you thought, and thanks for watching.